Hello and welcome to my review of the Transformers Netflix War for Cybertron trilogy Decepticon Hotlink. Hotlink was one of the figures that I was most looking forward to out of this new Netflix series, just as it's the closest thing I'm probably ever going to get to the Phantom Strike Squadrons pack that housed Skywarp. We can see here that the packaging is exactly the same as that of Megatron, who I've previously taken a look at, with pictures now of Hotlink in robot mode and vehicle mode, and also Heatstroke and Heartburn. I believe the contents of this set is exactly the same as that Phantom Strike Squadron set, although the character is now Hotlink and the paint variations are ever so different. So without further ado, let's crack him open. And here we have the new Voyager Hotlink with Heatstroke and Heartburn opened up, and obviously they don't come with this display base. This is from the Marvel Legends Deluxe Class Black Widow, but just setting him out of this display base for now. This figure looks really good, and I've got to say that I think that the colour scheme is just absolutely fantastic. I think this is probably my favourite paint deco for this particular Tetrajet Seeker mold. We can see here that he is wielding both Heartburn and Heatstroke. Both of these are exactly the same figures. The only difference is that one has an orange visor and one has a red visor. We'll take a closer look at those. Something which I wish they would have done is included 2 flame effects for each blaster. You know, these figures are just repaints and repacks, so to add an additional flame effect I don't think would have been too out of Hasbro's budget, and they're already charging an arm and a leg for these figures, so to get an extra effect I don't think would have cost them too much, and honestly makes the set to me look quite stingy. But regardless of that, I think the colour scheme is really nice. I like the aquamarine blue or green that they've used for these turrets, and we've also got these nice flame effects here for this version of Hotlink. Turning around, I love the variation of the darker and lighter shades of purple with the black paint applications as well. To me, this is very reminiscent of Skywarp in the colour design, and I have no problem whatsoever in calling this character Skywarp at all. Separating the weapons out for the second, we can take a closer look at these. I'll take a look at one and then leave one in vehicle mode, as they are exactly the same. We can see here that it does make quite a nice convincing blaster with some nice moulded details, and the flame does just attach, and you could even plug it onto Hotlink's null rays to transform it. It's very similar to that of Pinpointer that I just did a review of with Megatron. So it just opens up and then you fold the turret to the back, and here we have him in his robot mode, just ball joints for the legs and the arms, no head articulation, but quite a nice Decepticon insignia and some gunmetal paint for the torso, gunmetal paint for the mouth, and then red for the visor. So that looks quite cool. Nothing really in terms of mold degradation either. I think all the joints are quite stiff, but yeah, quite a nice throwaway accessory. But it's definitely Hotlink that takes the cake for me. I think that the paint apps on this is really well done. I stated in my Megatron review that Hasbro have got me hooked on these Netflix repaints, just that the paint is so good. I don't know whether that's because they've already earned their money back on these molds from the countless re-releases, and the fact that the mold is quite old now, so they can just spend all their budget on paint apps. But quite frankly, some of these Netflix figures are the best painted Hasbro figures I've ever seen them produce. All areas of these figures are painted, and I imagine, I haven't seen Hotlink in the show yet, but I imagine this is very accurate to how he's going to appear within some of the episodes. We can see he's got a really nice painted face with a grey paint app for the mouth, the nose, and then a transparent clear piece of plastic at the back for red light piping. I like the details on the null rays, but the thing that pops to me the most is that darker purple. Even the plastic is a darker purple, and then some black, some lighter shades. I just think it all complements the figure really nicely, and as we work our way down it gets ever so darker. Just giving you one last 360 before I transform him up into vehicle mode, because as I stated, I'm merely just going to be reviewing the paint apps of these figures, as I have already reviewed their individual modes. Very nice figure. And here, briefly taking a look at Hotlink in his Tetrajet Alt mode. I've always been a massive fan of the Tetrajet Transformers Siege Starscream mold. So once again, to get this in this more Skywarp colour, although it's Hotlink, to me is really nice. And I think the paint deco really and truly is fantastic. You can see once again the darker areas of the purple, the lighter purple, and the black. I think they really contrast well with one another. I like the use of an orange yellowish plastic for the front visor section, and I've also taken some of the blast effects that came with these 2 figures, Heartburn and Heatstroke, and utilised those effects for the actual missiles or the null rays of Hotlink. rotating around to the back. Something which has annoyed me ever so slightly with this figure is that seeing as this is a repaint, and as stated previously, these are more expensive than your standard figures, even more so if you were to combine the total cost of adding these, they haven't inserted a pin into this back section, and if anything, this is more loose than it was on the Thundercracker. This is probably just as loose as the original version of Starscream that came out, which is such a shame, as it honestly wouldn't have been very difficult to just put a pin through the joint, and Hasbro have had more than enough time to actually work that into this particular figure. But as a whole, I'm hooked on these Netflix repaints. I think that the repaints that I've reviewed so far, Hotlink and Megatron, have been great additions to my collection and will no doubt be very accurate to the cartoon series once it debuts. I hope that you enjoyed my very brief review on the Hotlink and Heartburn and Heatstroke set, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.